in America today, there is one color that determines all of the bullshit you can get away with. It's not black. It's not white. In fact, contrary to popular belief, it has nothing to do with the melatonin, or lack thereof, in your skin. What is this color, you may ask? This color is green. In a capitalistic system like America, well, America isn't completely capitalistic. It has some safety nets, but you get my drift here. This isn't an economics lesson. But in America, you are paid based upon what you produce. If you produce a skill, service, or you create something that a lot of people find valuable, or you work for a corporation, play for a sports team, act in films, and you make individuals involved in those institutions a lot of money, then you can get away with a lot of bullshit. And for those of you that are skeptical of my claim, just look at Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown gets a camera and records what's supposed to be a private speech on Facebook Live. Openly mocks one of his coworkers. He goes to Oakland, demands $30 million without even playing a single game. Guaranteed money. After that, he says he has frostbite on his feet. Then he threatens to retire because of a helmet. He can't wear a particular helmet. And then, after that, he records a conversation, a private phone conversation he has with the coach. But the last thing he does takes the icing on the cake. He gets angry at the general manager of the team. He threatens to punt a football in his face, and he calls him a cracker. You know what happens after he does all those things? Well, he gets released from the Raiders. But you know what ends up happening? He gets picked up by the Patriots, the best team in the league, who a season ago won the Super Bowl against the LA Rams. Why did that happen? That's because Antonio Brown has been All-Pro. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, in the NFL, All-Pro means you are the best player at your position. He led the NFL in receiving touchdowns. Basically, he produces. So this dude makes $19 million a year. He's going to win a Super Bowl, and he plays with Tom Brady after doing all that bullshit. What about Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick has a losing record as a starter. You look at his last 2 seasons, he has more interceptions than touchdowns. Since Colin Kaepernick did not produce, but he caused a lot of bullshit, nobody wants him on their team. And that's how everything works. Look at James Brown. James Brown, the godfather of soul. He went to prison for beating his wife. He got drunk on the highway and sped away from the cops. What happened after he got out of prison? He was back making music, back making money. And that's the way it works. Look at the Clintons. These politicians, they seem to get away with everything, right? That's because they have money. If you produce in this society, legally or illegally, you can get away with more bullshit. It's not about what race you are, what sex you are, how you look. All that doesn't matter. What matters is, are you valuable? Look at Donald Trump. By all metrics, our country is doing better. Unemployment is at 50-year low. You have the United States now as the number one exporter of oil and natural gas. You have no new wars starting. Yeah, he goes on Twitter all the time and he literally will insult people on that he watches on TV, but he's in office because he produces. And that's all it's about. If he did not get anything done as president, half the country would not vote for him. But they put up with his tweets, they put up with all of the dumb shit he says, like blood coming out of her wherever, not because they necessarily like that, but they, at the end of the day, they say, hey, my paycheck came and I have $1,000 extra, right? That's like my brother, he got a bonus. He works at a retail store. He said, I got a bonus on my check, and with that bonus, I was able to pay off my car. And he told me, he said, when I was driving my car to the dealership, I heard on the radio that Trump said that there was this girl who, something about how she was ugly or something like that. And he's like, I really didn't care. I just turned off the radio and got my car looked at, found out it was good, and paid it off. And that's a microcosm of the situation. Because he's like, I mean, yeah, the dude's a jackass, but look at my paycheck. And that's because he produces. I used to be a worker at Walmart. Now, when I worked there, I worked at one of the shit jobs. It was a cart associate. You would push the carts. And the reason I say it was a shitty job is because I would have to work outside in the 100-degree weather. But since the ground is where heat projects, that heat would be around 102 degrees with the humidity because of the location of where I live. In Tennessee, it's very humid because of the weather patterns and all that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, which heats from the surface of the ground, gets put in the atmosphere. But this is a science lesson. The point I'm making is I showed up every day. They wanted me to show up. I worked all the hours they wanted me to work. I worked over. I would fill in when they had open shifts. I always showed up on time. I was never late. I never took a sick day. I always showed up. So I did this about 2 years. And I remember I was outside one day. I was really hot. You know how it is when you're outside, you're sweltering in the heat, and then some jackass makes you mad. I was out there working, and this woman who worked there at the store, she was a cashier, she said, move out of my way. And I said, go fuck yourself. I literally said, go fuck yourself. And I was like, oh shit, I'm probably going to get into trouble. Oh well. And so a little while later, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes later, the manager came out and he said, I need to speak with you. So I let my coworkers know I needed to temporarily step away. He asked me, is she bothering you? And I said, she told me to move out of the way when I was simply doing my job. So I told her to go F herself. I'll admit what I said was wrong, but you got to understand, I was out there in the heat. I was getting thirsty. I was just a little frustrated. I apologized. And he told me, he said, if she ever bothers you again, let me know. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know what the hell happened. But it's like, I told her to go fuck herself. And here's this dude telling me, if she ever bothers you again, let me know. I later found out from one of the other managers, who's a friend of mine, that she missed a lot of days and, she called in sick a lot. So the only reason that I got away with telling her to go fuck herself is because I showed up every day and I did the job nobody wanted to do. And she would miss days, and that's because I produced for the company. I'd go out there, I would do my job, I wouldn't complain, I would produce. And that's the way our capitalistic system works. People that don't produce anything of value to society do not get compensated because they are not as productive as other people. And then they want to complain and get angry that someone has more money than they do. My first question to someone is, what do you produce for society instead of how much do you make? Because if you produce a lot for society, you will get compensated. So the only color that matters in America today, if you want to be successful, is green. How much money can you produce for yourself, for the NFL, for private corporations? How much money can you produce? And that's how much bullshit you can get away with.